Hey, howdy and hello there, folks. Welcome back into T1A. I'm Tank. That's Cranny. Down below are our Twitter handles if you want to get a hold of us there. Today we're going to be talking about a few guys who likely have been on your roster, but you really don't feel comfortable putting them in a flex spot. Their trade value is pretty much nil, and they're really just too valuable to drop. Who are these roster cloggers? Let's get into it and find out.
Fucking clingers. That's what we're calling these guys on my side of this shit. First things first, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, go in, get subscribed, click the noties so you get all our notifications when we put up new videos, that way you guys don't miss nothing. You don't want to miss us two morons talking about shit we probably don't know fucking anything about. Now, let's get in this topic here, okay?
Ready.
I love this idea for content because it helps give you a new perspective at your roster, right? It helps you expand your roster, give yourself more opportunities. Be sure you're evaluating your players on your rosters like this, especially your bench players. When you're building a bench, your bench isn't like, oh, wow, this guy has a chance to catch 60 balls and catch 600 yards. And those aren't guys you want on your bench. You want guys that have the potential, probably not this year, but further on to gain value, right? And these are the kind of guys that we're not talking about right here, right? We are talking about guys right here. You want to get this. These guys are fucking hemorrhoids, and we are the preparation H today to tell you to shrink that damn thing off and get rid of it. Get them off your roster. Tank, why don't you fire off? I like this guy you got right here.
You like him, huh? A lot of people really liked him. I mean, I had a little spark in my eye when I first spotted Devontae Parker for super cheap, free waiver wire, or usually like $1 bid on a startup. Like thinking, oh, I got this. I was thinking, ooh, how many touchdowns is he going to poach from Hunter Henry? Ooh. So I picked him up in a few spots. Then I started to think about it. It's like being hungry. So you ate a turkey hot dog. You're satiated for about a minute, and then you're hungry again.
Dude, did you say turkey hot dog?
Turkey hot dog.
Bleh.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Devontae Parker will do for you.
He's Devontae Parker's a turkey hot dog.
Devontae, he is. So, like, what's his value going to truly be? You're going to feel generous to say he gets 50 receptions, 480 yards, and 4 touchdowns? You're stuck on turkey hot dog, aren't you?
I can't get it out of my head.
For the season, I mean, those are some of the stats that he's likely to get. But where are you going to start him? I mean, are you going to really ride him in a second, third flex spot and hope that he scores you 4 points? Or maybe that 1 week where he gets a touchdown where it's 10 points. Maybe. Yeah. Now, just avoid the pitfall with him. Grab somebody like more of a dart throw like Velus Jones, or somebody that's kind of got some buzz like Romeo Dubs. Somebody that might have a next year value, or even a late year bloomer this year. There was no real targets voided in New England, so he's got to carve a role for himself in this offense. N'Keal Harry was the only change to the receiving core besides Tyquan Thornton, and we know that N'Keal didn't really leave anything left there.
No.
So I'm just not sure that Devontae's straight line speed quite where it used to be. I highly doubt he's creeping into his 30, that he's still got a 4.45 40. He's going to be a possession guy. What they probably hoped N'Keal would have been for them. I think Parker hit his peak a few years ago with his 1,200 yards, but has vastly just continued to fall off the cliff since then.
Yeah, for such a highly touted guy when he came out as a rookie, he really hasn't done shit to justify that hype. And I agree with you. There's no real way. There's no guarantee like, hey, you just lost 150 targets because we let a guy go and you're his replacement. There's none of that. You're also dealing with what's going to be a small pass attempt team. They're going to be a run-heavy team that plays defense. That's just how they are.
Control through defense.
Yep, and people can be excited about Mac Jones, what he has for potential, but really, honestly, I think you saw what Mac Jones was last year. He's going to be a game manager. If Mac Jones is anywhere near Alex Smith, let's say, for fantasy purposes in his career, and that's, no rushing or anything, but just throwing touchdowns and passing yards and, staying right around where Alex Smith was at. I think that'd be a great successful year or career for him. But I don't really see that happening, and I do see, you're gonna still have that chemistry with Jacoby Myers. He still has a chemistry with Kendrick Bourne. I know Tyquan Thornton is hurt right now, but he's going to be the burner that takes stuff off the top.
Aguilar's done well.
Yeah, Aggie's done well. And it's just, I find it hard to see a spot for Parker. He's a guy that, he's on your roster and he's just taking up a spot and you're never going to use him. Get rid of him. Go trade him for a draft pick that you can use to go get somebody that you think maybe not this year. Like, if you're not going to start Parker this year, why not go get a guy that, if I'm not going to start Parker this year, I'm not going to start him next year. So I'm going to get a guy that maybe I'm not going to start this year, but next year he might be a starter for me, a flex play for me.
Right.
Like, maneuver your roster in that fashion. That get this guy the fuck off your roster. Don't worry about it.
So you had mentioned Mac before. Who's your next guy?
Who? Mac? Like Marlon Mac?
Your Mac, yeah.
My Mac?
The Mac
Return of the Mac. Whatever the fuck that stupid song is. Anyway. I like Marlon. So yes, my guy
Monster Mac by
yeah. He was one that
mix a lot. There we go.
Damn dogs. Sorry, I have dogs and they bark sometimes. Marlon Mack is my guy, my first guy here. I know a lot of people are hyped up about Mac. He came out, he had a kind of a bum rookie year. He was the passing back. He showed that he could catch the ball, but I think that had a lot more to do with the situation where he was and how the offense was built. And then he kind of brought it on. I think he finished RB 18. I know he finished RB 15 in 2019. And then here comes September 2020. And I know everybody was jacked for Mac. He was kind of moving up boards. He was like just out in the beginning of that dead zone running back zone there. And he tears his Achilles in September of 2020. Misses the whole year, of course, right?
Yeah.
And then last year plays 6 games, averages 3.81 yards per carry. And just like everybody would have thought with a running back that rips their Achilles, he had no burst. He had no quickness. He had no side cut, no jump cut, no nothing. He was just a serviceable running back in the NFL because of how athletic he was. Same thing with Dante Foreman. I don't want to hear anybody's shit like, oh, he's back and he's doing it. Well, he fucking disappeared for 4 years. And look at the tape last year and you tell me that motherfucker made people miss because he was throwing cuts down.
And he's got burst.
Yeah, no, hell no. It's because he's fucking huge and he ran people over. That was all it was. You see the dog in the background?
Yep.
So don't give me that Marlon Mack crap. Now, the main big factor right now is Marlon Mack, the starting running back for the Houston Texans going into the 2022 season, if they don't draft Dameon Pierce. Yeah. Probably. But they did. Yeah. They did. And Dameon Pierce has done absolutely nothing but fucking shine in training camp. The Houston Texans told us all but just coming out and saying it that Dameon Pierce is going to be starting running back week one of the starting of the season, when this past preseason game, they sat Dameon Pierce for the whole game. He didn't even he was in street clothes, and Marlon Mack carried the ball like 9 times for 39 yards or some bullshit like that. Actually, I think it was like 26. It was terrible.
Lovey's history of having a single back.
Yep. People should have bought into that. And anybody who's watching this that doubted me and my Dameon Pierce hype, I fucking told you so. I don't want to put up fairy tales with running backs and the Achilles injuries, which everybody wants to do. Cam Akers, he'll be fucking great. No, he's not going to be fine.
Yeah,
an Achilles tear for a running back is a grim horror story with no happy ending. Marlon Mack is 26 years old, 2 years removed from an Achilles tear. His athleticism is 75 percentile in athletic metrics, and is on a team that find it hard pressed to find ways to get him the ball outside of Dameon Pierce. Get rid of Marlon Mack. Try to sell him to the Dameon Pierce guy, but if the guy drafted Dameon Pierce, he's probably not going to want your Marlon Mack. So maybe go somewhere else with that shit.
Unless they auto-picked for him, and then he doesn't know about.
yeah. Unless he was like, "Who the fuck is Dameon Pierce?"
I'll take him.
Yeah. So
don't seem too eager.
Let's lead us into another running back tank that you got on your list. Shout out to everybody else we've got.
All right, we got Devin Singletary. This backfield has just got so bland with a whole bunch of mediocre guys. Well, they're mediocre for fantasy, not really mediocre guys. I mean, they're good running backs. It's just utilization and everything.
You can say they suck. They suck. They suck.
I think it's a situational, but they're mediocre. I mean, they don't suck. They're just okay. So taking any one of these three, Singletary, Moss, or now James Cook is really just a hope and prayer that something hits. You're also really hoping that one of the other three gets hurt, because that's the only way that the piece that you would probably have has any fantasy relevance.
Yeah, hoping that volume falls down into his guy because another guy got hurt.
Yeah, that's nothing you should bank on.
Hell no. Don't bank on injuries.
Where are you going to play Singletary? You're going to start him as your RB2 and hope that he helps some way that week? I doubt that.
Yeah.
Cook won't take all the receptions, but that's going to eat into Singletary's workload. Moss isn't going to take all the goal line work, but again, that eats into Singletary's workload. So why would you bother if you paid anything, whether you picked him in a startup or you traded for him? You're kind of stuck. I mean, what are you going to do? If you paid for him, you're stuck with him. So he's worth way less than what he was in the offseason. Nobody really wants him. It's hard to move him even as a throw-in piece. They're like, nah, I'll just take a pick or something.
Yeah, somebody wants somebody else. I'll take a third.
But, he's good enough that you don't really want to drop him. You really don't feel like starting him. You're like, he's going to be very much like Devontae Parker. He's going to get you 48 points and a spike week of 11.
Yay.
The little streamer. That's the throwing pop it thing.
Yeah, that's it. Congratulations. Slap. Just fucking won.
That one didn't even break. He only had good fantasy relevance, kind of down the stretch of the last part of the season. Moss was hurt, and then when he's coming back, they just gave the lion's share of the workload to Devin. But now there's another guy there to compete with all of that. Bills are going to be a true running back by committee. All three guys will be stepping all over each other, for touches, receptions, workload, slot positions, whatever they're going to do to try to get all these guys on the field, which they have way better pass catchers out there in their 3 or 4 wide receiver sets. These guys aren't going to see much slot work. Definitely. So with all of that, we're going to also add in Josh Allen having 120 plus rushing attempts and stealing goal line touches from all three of those guys.
Yeah, plenty of goal line touches that Josh is stealing. Yeah, I like this take. I just, with James Cook going there, man, did it make it just a muddled mess of, fuck, what do I do? I think before James Cook went there, you could lean on Devin Singletary a little bit just because you had that volume there. You could tell that Buffalo wasn't really trusting Zach Moss in the end, at the end of last season, and that it looked like Devin Singletary had a pretty clear route. But this would be what?
Well, and then off-season they tried to get McKissick.
Yeah, this is, and I think James Cook was a McKissick replacement. So this was Moss's second year. So I don't think they drafted
third year.
Yeah, so they drafted Singletary, and then the next year they drafted Moss, and then I think they skipped a year, and then they bring in James Cook. So clearly in the 3 years that Devin Singletary has been there, they brought in 2 other running backs.
They brought in Breida last year.
Okay, yeah, they brought in Breida. So they didn't draft anybody, but still, you start putting draft capital in some of these guys. And when 2 out of 3 years they're putting in draft capital, and they're adding guys like Matt Breida to the roster, like clearly they're unsatisfied with what the guy's doing. Find a way to get the fuck out of there. I mean, there's Devin Singletary truthers out there. There's people that still believe in it. Go find that guy in your league and get a 2nd-round pick for this guy.
And a guy that can get out of there, a speedster, as your next guy. Who you got?
Oh, boy, yeah. This guy's just fast as hell, but he fucking sucks at football.
Wait, that's my guy. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's all of them. Mecole Hardman is my next guy. 4th-year guy. Last year was his best season with 59 catches, 693 yards, 2 touchdowns, wide receiver 50 in PPR formats. Why in the fuck are we still trying to hang on and make this guy a thing? Okay, clearly he's not a thing, because how many wide receivers did Kansas City bring in? MVS, Juju, we talked about in this last video. Sky Moore's there. It's just a plethora of other dudes there.
Yeah,
and it's because
almost all pass-catching running backs that they brought in.
Exactly, and like I said, just because you fast don't mean you can ball. All right, it doesn't mean you're a good football player. That just means you can run fast as hell. Okay, go kick returns.
That worked pretty good in high school.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Yeah,
Crowded target share here with Kelsey. I think the target share is going to break down to Kelsey, Juju, Sky, MVS, and Mecole Hardman are both going to be mixed in there somewhere.
Yeah.
As far as the running backs, nobody knows who's going to be the fucking pass catching back. But KC, other than Ronald Jones and Derek Gore, who's now got hurt and is going on the IR.
Finger.
Yeah, he's done for the year probably. So you got CEH, McKinnon, and Pacheco, who all know how to catch out of the backfield. They're all good pass catchers. That's 7 dudes to catch the ball. When in the fuck do you think you would have to be able to see into the future to know when to play Mecole Hardman in a flex spot.
And you only know one of those guys has a target share.
Guaranteed
Kelsey. Yeah.
Guaranteed Kelsey gets his target share, exactly. Not to mention also that right now Mecole Hardman is already dealing with a groin injury. He's always dealt with little soft, weird, stupid injuries, probably because he's too fast and doesn't actually work out, whatever the hell his problem is. Sky probably ends up overtaking him. Sky Moore ends up overtaking him in this round.
That's what I foresee.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of Juju, a lot of Sky Moore, a lot of MVS, a lot of Travis Kelsey, a lot of funny sets. Remember, it's Andy Reid, right? He's a fucking offensive genius. He's going to get this team on track. I just don't think it has anything to do with Mecole Hardman. If your league has crazy good points for kick return yards, grab this asshole because he's going to get a lot of kick returns, okay? But other than that...
Going to be relegated to special teams.
Yeah, other than that, get him the hell off your roster. People will pay you a little bit for him. Throw him into other stuff as a little add-on to get a bigger deal done. But don't be sitting on Mecole Hardman thinking he's going to be a thing, please. Everybody's been thinking he's going to be a thing for 3 years now, and he ain't done shit. Stop it.
With ample opportunity. I mean, he's had to overtake who? Sammy Watkins? And he still barely didn't do that.
He didn't. They fucking got rid of Sammy Watkins. When he was there with Sammy was like, no, I'm going to fucking be the number 2 wide receiver. It's ridiculous. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Speaking of fast, tiny guys, I actually, wasn't it last year that I was like, one of us was talking about this guy.
I think
this guy got on the radar.
Yeah, because he was also one of the many track stars that the Eagles picked up.
Yeah.
Aside from there was John something.
Whatever.
And then the other guy that just went to the Olympics. I mean, there's Quez Watkins. I mean, he's a fast guy from the first step, way down the field, 4.34 40. He's got agility, burst. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. He's only in the 69th percentile.
Just straight line fast.
He's just fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Eagles can use Quez to stretch. Oh, no, they're not. They're going to use AJB to stretch the field. Well, maybe they can use Quez for some quick slants, and I think they'll use Devonta probably for all those. They can kind of run it. Maybe they'll use Quez to go between the line and the safety. No, Dallas Goedert. Oh, how about some quick screens out to Quez? Why? They got a whole bunch of running backs that can catch. They still have A.J. Brown, who's electric once you put the ball in his hand. All of these guys that they had, who would you rather have the ball in their hands? AJB or Quez? Devonta
AJB.
Or Quez? Goddard
Smith.
or Quez? Gainwell or Quez?
Goddard. Gainwell.
Exactly.
Sanders. All the motherfuckers. Jalen Rager. I take that back.
Throw it to himself. You can't say that.
I take Jalen Rager back. I fucking hate that guy, FYI. Just in case anybody didn't know. Sorry, go ahead.
So there's usually a lot of talk about the share of a passing pie in the fantasy. Well, the Eagles don't have a huge passing pie. So after you take out A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, running backs, that's the 5th on the list.
Yeah, there ain't a lot left for that guy.
There's not going to be much there for him to eat. So it's going to be mediocre. He's down there in the targets list. Unless there's an injury that happens, Quez could have wide receiver 5 or 6 relevance for you. But rather than that, I'm just going to throw Quez in as trade pieces. I just really hope something I can get better next year or somewhere else.
Yeah, I acquired Quez in a few spots because I liked what he did last year. And, it was just him and Devonta Smith. And it looked like, okay, maybe this is something that can gain traction. He's a second, third option in the wide receiver group, whatever. And then AJB hit. And it was like, fuck. All right, well, that throws him, just like you're saying. You never know when the hell he's going to pop off. Those aren't guys you want. Even if he does get hurt, it wasn't like he blew everybody out of the water last year. He was just
No.
there. The guy catching passes.
He was
on
just
an
part of
NFL
the
offense.
target share.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I completely agree with Quez on that one. I like that one.
So we're going to round this out with another small passing pie. What do you got?
Small passing pie. So there are a few teams in the NFL that run the ball the most every year. And I'm kind of like throwing you out there as a pop quiz that maybe you don't know. But who do you think are the top 2 teams for run percentage over the past 3 years? Over the past 3 years.
Well, I definitely know
2 teams have been in the top 2.
Eagles have got to be one of them. And then maybe the Colts, and then the Ravens.
It's the Niners and the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Niners and the Ravens run the most rushing plays per percentage of games than any other teams in the NFL, and they've done it 2 out of 3 years. Last year was fucking insane for the Ravens, right? Injuries everywhere. Injuries to the running back, injuries to the defense, injuries to Lamar. I mean, I remember watching them on, I think it was a Sunday night game, and I think it was against the Colts. And, like, it was just, what in the hell? Lamar took that game, put it on his shoulders, and was slinging it everywhere. It looked uglier than hell, but when it was all said and done, the numbers are what we care about, right? I don't give a shit if a guy sucks, but in the fourth quarter, if he puts up 30 for me, I'll take it. Now
he runs a couple in. No, thank you.
Yeah. Now, with that said,
but he's going to run them in.
Everybody is looking at the Baltimore Ravens right now, and everybody is trying to get a piece of that passing pie. But what everybody is realizing is there's probably only like 3 pieces to it, right? And the 3 pieces are Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, every other swinging dick on that fucking offense. You're not ever going to be able to pin out who that third slice of the pie is actually going to. They don't throw to the running back, so as the prototypical vacated targets of 145 that Marquise Hollywood Brown is leaving out, you would think those are going to go to like JK, right? Or wherever the hell else they brought in as a baddie. Right? Those are going to, no, did he go there or did he go to Miz?
Mike Davis.
Yeah, Mike Davis. Fuck that. Mike Davis. Again, great. Fuck. It's not going to go to the running back. So now you have 145 vacated targets. With Rashad Bateman only playing a few games last year, you know he's going to see a big chunk of those. Now, you have to tell me, you're going to sit here and pick between these guys right here that I'm about to list as to who the hell you're going to start in your flex spot. Devin Duvernay, James Proche, Tylan Wallace, Demarcus Robinson. Who gives a fuck about these guys?
I don't know.
Nobody. Nobody should give a shit about these guys. These guys, if they're on your roster because you were late in the draft and it was like, that looks promising, let's see what happens. Get that guy the fuck off your roster. These guys are not going to produce for you in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if Bateman goes down. Good luck again trying to figure out who the fuck is going to catch passes outside of Andrews in that place. Bateman and Andrews are going to see a significant target split share this year, and that's, I mean, it's going to be an insane number, I believe, by the end of the year. It could be one that we look back on and we're like, it's, you know, precedent.
We saw it, but how did we see it?
Yeah, it may very well
see that. Yeah,
may very well reset the bar as far as the percentage of 2 guys receiving the target share on a team.
Yeah.
Like I said, Hollywood Brown left 145 targets from last year coming into this year. And Bateman's going to see a solid share of those targets. He's going to see a lot of end zone looks. It's definitely going to be very concentrated target share in Baltimore, and it's not going to include these guys. So if you have any of these guys, again, Devin Duvernay, James Proche, Tylan Wallace, Demarcus Robinson recently just signed. Get these guys the fuck off your roster, okay? Sell somebody. Go to the guy who has Lamar and doesn't have Rashad Bateman or Mark Andrews and say, hey, look, dude, if you get a stack with these guys and these guys are in your flex spot, you got a shot. Do whatever the hell you have to do. I don't know how the hell you're going to pull it off. But that's on you to get creative with it. Figure it out.
Well, I know one thing. Don't send those guys to us.
Yeah, don't send them there. Yeah, I'll send you packing right down the road, guy. Yeah.
I think that's all I got for today.
That's all I got, man. Hey, everybody, still, remember, hit the like button if you like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification buttons. Be like water. Stand by your convictions. T1A.